Well. I haven't done a sports episode in such a long time because, your boy's a United fan. I just didn't want to say anything because I felt like when I wanted to make a video the last time, we would have won 5 games in a row, but then we drew to West Ham. So I kind of wanted to get this run going on and just give myself a little foundation, right? To be able to talk a lot of smackaroonies. And boy, oh boy, let's just say Michael Carrick has turned his team upside down. Has been able to kind of hit them sixes out of the ground, get them goals scored in the goalpost, get the players to play like they've gone Super Saiyan 2 and 1. Actually, no, Super Saiyan 1. They'll go Super Saiyan 2 and 3 when they start winning the league and, getting back to the Champions League and doing all the other fun stuff. Would I ever think that United would have been in this position, like third? I feel like there's an outside chance, and this is the fan side of me, by the way. I can be a little bit delusional, a little bit when you start winning and stuff like that. I think we have an opportunity to sound delusional, and we can just be asking for a little bit more. And what I think can also happen is if we're lucky, hear me out. If we're lucky, hear me out. City and Arsenal start losing those odd games, but it happens more than often, and we just keep winning and winning and winning. We just don't lose. Maybe like a couple of draws here and there, but not. But we had that Fergie time wins, and then bam, like we somehow win the league by 1 point. Crazy ass fan prediction, deluded prediction. But if it happens, oh my god, guys! if you can bet on it or whatever. But no, man. I mean, like honestly, truth, the way how United has been in the past like 6 7 weeks, I think Michael Carrick hasn't lost a game yet. Even when you look back at the interim time that he was with United, I think that was when who was it? Was it Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that got fired and he took over? Right? Yeah, that was the time that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got fired and he took over, and those he didn't lose at that point. I thought there was a draw with Chelsea, and then he comes back and he's beaten the big dogs. He's beaten Arsenal, City, Fulham. We've beaten Tottenham, all that shit this season again. I mean, we've beaten. I mean, Fulham was a little bit of a hiccup. Crystal Palace too. So talking about today's game also, like the first 30 minutes just wasn't quite there. It felt like, oh shit, you know, we're kind of going back to this like seesaw kind of like performances. And the first 20 30 minutes just looked like we couldn't even get the balls to be passed around properly. We weren't completing any passes. It just looked a little bit stale. And Crystal Palace got that early goal. So I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And it always happens for us like before when we had the option to go top four or top three or just to be able to gain a little bit of momentum, we would give up a goal and we would just get a draw instead of a win. And I felt like this was kind of like a situation where we would go back and, oh man, we lost 1-0. It was giving me those Everton vibes initially. And, until the first half ended, I was kind of like, oh man, like a little bit frustrated, but also frustrated not because like we didn't really create that many chances. It just didn't look fluid, from what I was used to watching them play against Arsenal City, like those tiki taka passes. It was just something that I was being a little bit worried. And then when the second half started, I saw a little bit more intent. I saw there were more structure. Like Cunha and Bruno weren't in a little bit in the middle. Because Cunha is not really a natural left winger. He would just he always liked to come inside. But what you also noticed was that Bruno went out wide, even if Bruno has more of the freedom to go wherever. And Bruno Fernandes again in this game, man. This guy, I swear to God, if he was in City or if he was in Real Madrid, this dude would have set records of like titles. He'd have titles, and the fact that he's still stuck with United, is just you don't really get that many players like that. You know what I'm saying? He could have easily asked for a transfer to a different club. Like his agent could have like even asked for that or done that, right? But he didn't, and he stuck it through. And even though he's like asking for more money, you gotta give it to him. I mean, he's a type of player I feel like United. If United didn't have him, I don't know where maybe 50% of our chance would come from. If Bruno has a bad game, I feel like our XG drops significantly. But the way how everybody else is kind of playing right now, it's kind of making up for it. Like Cunha can string some passes together. But even if like Bruno does leave eventually in the future, I feel like Cunha can really take that position. Um, and Mason Mount, he's just too injury prone. But anyways, back to today's game. Man, Sheshko, this guy is like a striker we've been missing for the longest time. He's giving me like Berbatov and not Van Persie, but Berbatov and Rooney vibes. Like where Rooney would just like run up behind, like with that pace against when we beat who was it? Fulham? I think it was just Fulham, right? We won. Yeah, with that team. I don't know, who did we play last time? Oh my god, I'm so happy that we won. I'd completely forgot like who we played last week, dude. Like it's crazy. Yeah, so Sheshko has scored 6 goals in the last 7 games. Um, I feel like he's a striker that is coming of age for United. I feel like we are finally getting him on board with the way we're playing. And Bruno's against assist. I mean, he was Bruno. I mean, like think of this game. He had an assist and he had a goal, right? And I think Cunha also himself like got an assist because of the penalty. And I think Cunha is a very very smart player. Like he knows exactly what he's doing, and the way he won that penalty, right, and that red card, kudos, man, kudos. And I feel like he'll be a really big integral part of the team. Like if you look at the way how they're like passing the ball, how they're going in with intent. I mean, the penalty, we got that penalty regardless. It was just like the VAR was checking in for the red card, which, by the way, if you're slowing a player down, the rules are rules, baby. That's how it works. You're a defender. You're not supposed to use your hands. It's not handball. It's football, right? But ultimately, I feel like we did it. We played really well. I have to say, Carrick has really like redefined his team. I say like he's more of a modern day Ancelotti, but I'm seeing his tactics now as well. So if you actually look at like the way how he played, so I have the stat sheet up over here. So even the biggest chances, Casemiro had 2 out of 4, and out of the 5 big chances, United have 4 out of the top 5 chances. Right, Benjamin Sheshko with a goal, Bruno Fernandes with a goal. So you can see over here, Bruno Fernandes had an xG of 0.76, and Sheshko had an xG of 0.12. The thing about Sheshko is like I feel like he manipulates the game in other ways. For example, what I mean by that is I feel like he basically pulls defenders towards him that kind of eases up for the other players to kind of run around. It does that. And the red card definitely helped us because with that red card you had the goal scorer and the defender that kind of like got sent off. So Crystal Palace at that point in time, it really definitely changed the game for them, and he should know better, to be very honest. But yeah, like if you look at how um, how the chance quality was, you know, Crystal Palace did have its moments too. But however, United just just had more opportunity overall. If you look at the opportunity that was given, you had Fernandez here, Fernandez there, Cunha, Diallo, Cunha, Diallo. So you see these players like that was I think Casemiro's attempt. But what I'm trying to say is like it's the same type of players every time that are very smart. Cunha is a very smart player. Casemiro is a very smart player, and Bruno Fernandes is a very smart player. So the type of mentality that they have when they're playing this game is just outstanding. The way how they do those no look passes, how Cunha gets um, those fouls in penalties, and then getting the opposition the red card. I mean, it's all about mind game, right? And I feel like overall, like the team has kind of come together. And if Carrick can get this team to like at least push City and Arsenal to the point where they can't lose. I mean, I don't. Do I really realistically think we'll win the league? No, hell no. Um, I would love to stay top three, or if City kind of like fumbles here and there's an Arsenal kind of fumbles and we keep winning, maybe like top two would be the best. But I think the main goal for this season is to stay top four to get Champions League back. We get the funding coming in, and most importantly, replacing the players. Like we need good players. We need midfielders because obviously Casemiro is going, so that's going to be we need a replacement, and we need someone as good as Casemiro. Because if you look at how Casemiro is playing, he is a huge integral part of this team. Like just the way how like the performances and overall, I think Manu is coming on his own, but Manu himself, like he's more of a like he's a great player. Like he can control the ball, he can control midfield, but I feel like Casemiro has that little instinctual like ability to score those goals out of nowhere or create those passes. Like players are so busy, kind of like trying to like defend um Mbuemo, Cunha. Now you have Bruno Fernandes, and then you have Sesko pulling them, or sometimes Amad Diallo because he's a winger. And these are all good problems to have, right? With these players, I think the only downside that we have is the left winger. I mean, even though we got rid of Garnacho, I think he himself would have caused more issues for the team just because of his ego. And you can see how it's affecting him in Chelsea right now, right? It's apparent that Chelsea's also going down and we're kind of going up. Take some time to get into these things or like putting a team together. But Carrick, I feel like has managed United so well to the point he's making them believe, he's making everybody a cohesive unit. And my God, man, I don't think I would have ever imagined this. I mean, even if Amron was here, I don't know, maybe Europa was what I was hoping for, top four was I was hoping for, and then eventually building a systematic team. But I think Carrick being able to do this with this team and with players out of position because Cunha again is not a left winger and Bruno Fernandes is not a left winger. I think you are missing the likes of Dorgu. I think he's also like if you look at Dorgu, if he hadn't had his injury, he also kind of rejuvenated his career and he's more of an attacking threat. And with Dorgu coming in, Cunha had to stay on the bench. So it's a very good problem to have, right? And I feel like Cunha is playing that role that he needs to play to make sure that even if Dorgu gets fit and ready, he can come back. And I feel like Cunha should also look into replacing Bruno Fernandes in the long run because he needs to be that playmaker. But Cunha is also he's a very attack hungry person too. So it'll be interesting to see how what United do in the upcoming transfer window. But yeah, guys, we're top three right now. I love saying it, top three. And thank God Villa like drop points. And those are type of moments that I want to see. I was hoping Arsenal like tied. Um, they tied. What do you call Chelsea? But I think the red card that Pedro Neto got kind of allowed that because those are where like Arsenal are more likely to lose points, right, with the bigger teams. Um, will they be able to do with the smaller teams? Not really. I think the reason why, I mean, maybe against Wolves they did, but those are like flukes. It doesn't quite happen as often. I think the only Arsenal's problem is their front three not being able to score as consistently, and City being City. And I think there is a chance that City might take this just because of the fact that Arsenal has been inconsistent in front of goal. But yeah, overall, I hope like United push those two teams. We stay in third and we keep going forward. And if City falter or Arsenal falter, I really want to see us like go up to second. I think that is achievable, and I hope that's something we can manage. But overall, just a little segment about United and just being happy overall. It's been a great 4 or 5 weeks, except for the West Ham week. It's been a great 2026, undefeated, only team undefeated in the Premier League in 2026. So I'll take that. And there's a little bit of rant. The guy that he needs a haircut. I mean, I understand like why he asked for 5 MAC games in a row. Sure, there's been like 5 undefeated games or whatever. But yeah, he got lucky. He now I don't think he even wants a haircut because the moment he gets a haircut, I mean he won't be really known for anything else. So kudos to him. He got famous. He's making money, and yeah, that's all I can say. But with that being said, go United, and yeah, United.